Now, I think the gloves will be off at Mercedes, and it's going to be very interesting to see how Mercedes are going to handle and all the way back to 2014 battle from Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. Now we're having Kimi Antonelli and George Russell. I told you it's going to happen, and now it's happening. We can see race 5, Kimi Antonelli is like, hell no, George, you're here to race, I'm here to race, I don't. The same thing Lewis Hamilton did to Alonso then. He said there were times they were trying to suppress him to give in, but he was like, no, I'm going to fight. And Kimi is like, this guy is not good now. I can, he's a B class. I can show him I can get to the A class through him. And that is what Kimi Antonelli is trying to do. But all well and good, the race didn't end well for Kimi Antonelli today because there are lots of lessons to learn. But I think in future, there are lots of things to take away from this type of battle for him, because George Russell is somebody that would not just give you the room or the road to go. It's just like Max Verstappen. That is why the two of them cannot work together. They are like poles. They cannot work together. But anyway, which way, I can tell you it was an interesting race. What are the things that we saw? For me, I think it's showing that the upgrade Mercedes brought worked. But McLaren getting into the race, that car gets better. They brought upgrades also, and their upgrades also gets better. So it means Mercedes upgrade is working, McLaren's upgrade is working. Ferrari no upgrade, but we can see improvement. With that Adduo, I think if the Ferrari team can get the Adduo, they will be limitless. They are going to just be on par, and it's going to be a very beautiful competition. I think that is why they are also looking at how they can hold back the 2027 rule change to the engine to look at it going 2028, because they don't want to get Adduo at the end of the day. By 2027, Mercedes gets ahead again with the changes, and they have the opportunity again, and they are sweeping it off. So I think that's why they are blocking it. They are not the only one trying to block it. That's Ferrari, Honda, and Audi. They are trying to slow it down because they don't want to give undue advantage to Mercedes and Red Bull. But I think it's going to work perfectly better if they get the Adduo as soon as possible. I want to see the battles. And also, I think tire management for Ferrari is a no-no. But what really happened, I think during the race, Lewis Hamilton did a good race, tagged the pole because he was struggling with tires. No excuse for him, because he was trying to hold on to that 4th position. Getting that 4th position from 5th means so much to him, and holding it on would have meant so much. But unfortunately, he lost it and lost 2 places, 2 laps to go. And I think Ferrari needs a whole lot of work to do. McLaren are doing their job and are getting results. Mercedes are doing their job and getting results. Red Bull, I think Red Bull today, to Mercedes, Red Bull are about 5/10 away. To Ferrari, Red Bull are like 2/10 away in this race. The straight line, I'm not even seeing Red Bull. They have one of the fastest car, the best engine. I'm not seeing Red Bull. They are not just giving it in. Now let's go to the battle. Kimi Antonelli, I believe if it were not for they were in the same team, Kimi Antonelli, George Russell will be penalized. He really forced him up. Though George Russell said they'll talk about it, he won't focus. But I think George Russell also needs to watch it, because if he keeps racing like this, Kimi Antonelli will keep giving him back to back and make him uncomfortable. And when he becomes uncomfortable, it's going to be a difficult to race or a difficult season for him, for both of them. And that might also cost Mercedes. But Sergio Perez, wonderful sprint race, taking the Cadillac to 14th. I think it was 11th. He lost some positions right on the last lap to 14th. What a race he did today, taking Cadillac from back. That is great. And I think for Honda, it was difficult for Lance Stroll to start the race. Nevertheless, he started right from the pit. For his teammate Fernando Alonso, he was in the race. He got out of the race and he came back to the race. At the point, he was unable to last in the race. Also, for someone like Isaac Aja, had probably a sensor issue. He was in the race. He got out of the race, came back to the race. Now, all these things are like something is going on with these teams and with these engines. Learnings, I think, but with these learnings, they'll get better for next year. And a lot of teams did a lot of tire tests today during the sprint race, because they knew they were going nowhere. So for drivers that were from 14th below before the end of the race, they did a lot of tire tests. Even Fernando Alonso brushed some tires off for qualifying in the afternoon. Just to tell you, the preparation is not just for those that are thinking, race tomorrow, is also looking at what they've done. Teams that went out of park from to correct the car, to do some things on the car and make the car better. They start from the pit lane. All is looking at how to maximize the best for the car. And I think the teams that really got points today are also looking at how to maximize points, because they were closely fighting and it was an interesting fight. Unlike the last race that was so dull, but this sprint race makes sense. Let's see how the major race will be tomorrow. But next, we go into the qualifying and see how those teams have made necessary adjustments and how it's going to affect them in the qualifying. Catch you guys. So guys, after the whole 23 laps of great racing, the qualifying is there. And the Russell Antonelli shenanigans, I love what Toto Wolff said, and that is the prerequisite for the war we are expecting between these two guys. And this is going to set a tone for what is going to happen next. He asked the question, when they asked him, he said, if it is Max Verstappen, would he leave the door open? No. So why would George Russell leave the door open for Kimi Antonelli? Yes, that's how Max Verstappen would have raced. But in this case, these are your two drivers. But well, they should deal with it the way they want to deal with this issue. But I think this is going to spiral down to some future battles in which we don't even know how it's going to come up. But I can tell you it's going to be a war. Tomorrow there might be rain. We don't know yet. There might not be rain. But let's see what happens tomorrow. But it's going to be very interesting tomorrow to see how this whole thing pans out. But certainly it's going to be very, very interesting. Now, qualifying came. We have the Mercedes front row lockout and the McLaren second row lockout again in Canada. The two of them locked it out, and Lewis Hamilton starting fifth again. You know what's funny about Lewis Hamilton starting fifth again? He had the opportunity. 1 to 5 were close to pole. They were just 1.5 tenths away from each other. 1 to 5. The rest were just distance away. They just created social disengagement from each other. You understand? But it's very interesting to see how Lewis Hamilton is driving this car without simulation and how he's performing. We saw McLaren by the middle of the race. They were just alive. The car was alive. They were enjoying the car. Max Verstappen qualified 6th. His teammates giving him a close marking, as in Isaac Hadjar is really rising up to the task. Race 5 and is close to Max Verstappen. That is huge, and I think this shows that guy got some huge neck on his head. Like I said, he's going to decide what he's going to do about his own racing because he has the talent, and that is showing. And Lindblad, what a young chap he is. Qualified in 9th, Charles Leclerc 8th, and Colapinto 10th. Now, during the sprint race, we saw that the Red Bull were far away from the front runners, and it's going to be difficult to see how they are going to close that. They've made changes to the car. Everybody has made changes to the car. How that is going to pan out, well, we don't know. We saw that the Ferraris are pushing that car to the extreme. Lewis Hamilton is, I can say this is the first time in the last 4 years I can tell you Lewis Hamilton is pushing his car, and that's why you are seeing a lot of mistakes. During the sprint race, he was pushing the hell out of that car. The way he was harvesting was totally different from the way everybody was harvesting. He was harvesting so that he can have some more battery on the straight, which is giving him extra juice to hold on to his position and not allow anybody, like when Piastri was behind him for 21 laps during the sprint race, he never gave him chance because he was leaving a little battery to help him to the end of the straight, because the Mercedes engine, they have the best engine, so they are better on that. So he's leaving a little battery to help him, and that also is not really helping him in qualifying, because if he's really doing the qualifying the way the car should do it, I think it would have been easier for him to qualify if they had like 70% of engine. You would see that even with their low power, I think Ferrari would do a terrific job. And also others are just, aside from the Ferrari powertrain and the Red Bull powertrain, the rest are Mercedes powertrain. Colapinto, Mercedes, Alpine, Lindblad, Ford. So it's very interesting to see how these guys are pushing the car, and I think come race tomorrow is going to be a different ballgame entirely. I hope what happened to Hadjar during the sprint will not happen to Red Bull tomorrow. They're able to push and get some luck out of the race tomorrow. So it's going to be interesting who starts better. Now, the clutch that Mercedes changed really worked for them in sprint, and is going to work for them tomorrow, and I think that is what Ferrari should look at now. I had a conversation with one of my followers, and when he talked about Ferrari not gaining enough because of their small turbo, there are ways in which the small turbo is giving them a lift during the races, because they can get a lot of juice faster, but they can't get enough juice. But if they have a big turbo, I think it will help them better, but they need a Diaduo first. If they can get the Diaduo, it would help them. But now what they need more is that Diaduo to bring their engine power. Now Ferrari have learned that with what Mercedes have done, that the clutch would help you to start better, so they should work on the clutch now and change that turbo to a bigger turbo configuration. That will help them, because as you get better, as you drive these cars, you get better, and I think that is what we are seeing. A lot of teams are getting better. The usual suspects are behind, I mean the Cadillac guys and the Aston Martin, but seriously 2 seconds away race 5 for those two teams. That is great, because from race 1 to race 4 they were like 3-4 seconds away. Now they are getting better, so by race 7-10 they should be close to the pack, which makes more sense. I think Cadillac needs to improve their car, make the car better, while the Aston Martin guys needs to just get the best out of the power unit and make the power unit relate very well with their chassis. That gives them a larger opportunity. Albon has not been doing well. I don't know, maybe it's the Williams, but Albon has not been doing well. Gasly during this weekend, he lost focus, he's lost some pace to his teammate. Great qualifying for Hulkenberg 11, but it's going to be a very interesting race tomorrow. You don't want to miss it. Why am I saying interesting race? Who starts better? Will the McLarens be able to keep the pace to the Mercedes? We saw today that at the point when the two Mercedes were fighting and the McLaren of Lando Norris was able to get in between them, the three of them were in a different league, while the trio of Lewis Hamilton, Oscar Piastri, and Charles Leclerc were in another league, while the rest were in a different league of their own, a totally different league. So are we going to see that tomorrow? With the little changes they've made to the car, we'll be able to see these guys push the car to the limit, get closer to the top guys, and give us a wonderful race. Up until tomorrow, you don't want to miss the race analysis. Catch you guys. Bye. Love you. Bye. Cheers.